Module, what we are going to discuss is uh, from here we'll start. So by the end of this module, you'll be able to understand get data from various data sources. We did last time with Excel, and we will see performance or optimizing query techniques, and then we'll see the normal errors while loading the data and how we can resolve those errors. So I'll start
Okay.
with getting started with various data sources. So So most of us, we work in a company like, and where we are required to build Microsoft report, Power BI reports. The data resides, as you can see, it resides in different databases as well as in files. These data repositories are different from each other. Some are in like SQL Server, some are in like Excel, or but all data are related, relational databases, right? All are like related data. So before we create any report, first thing is we extract the data from the various data sources. Interacting with SQL Server is different from Excel. So you should learn the nuances of both the system. So after you have learned the particular of each system, like you can use Power Query, the Power Query engine like used in the Power BI as well as Excel, same thing to clean the data. And cleaning the data means I'm saying that renaming, replacing values or removing errors or combining query results. So this I mean by when I say what is cleaning the data. And after that, when the cleaning is done, then we organize. So you should be ready to build the report. And finally, once you published the combined data set and the reports to the Power BI service, from there, other people can use your dataset to build their own report, right?
Okay.
So you can build your own report, or might be you in a situation that you optimize these things and you publish your data sets and then you certified that, and based upon that, stakeholders can also build their own report. I think it is clear. And
Yeah.
so let's move to next slide. So organization often export or store data in the file. So one possible format is a flat files format that you see here, right? So determining the location of the flat file, first step is to determine which file is located where, right? You need to connect to that file. How you connect to that file? You simply go to the home tab and get data, and you can choose your CSV as well as XML file. After
Yeah.
that, select the data in a import mode and select the checkbox.
Okay.
There is an option called like you can load the data into a import mode, or you can load the data into a direct query mode, right? That is possible. So once we are loading the data, first thing is what we see is here is loading and transforming, right?
Yeah.
So
Load.
yeah, to select the data in the file import and select the checkbox and the table that brings uh, load and transform tab. So either which one we need to use. So either we directly load the data or we should go for the transform data, right? So better option is to choose this transform data option, because we don't want everything to be like published into Power BI. What we are looking for is like segmented data, or say that particular columns to be loaded here, and then after that we can see if data types are correct, and the required columns that we are looking for is selected, then we can further load the data and start building our report. So I
Okay.
think it is clear till here, right?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So connecting Power BI to a database will help you to monitor the progress of your business, identifying the trends, and so that you can forecast sales figures, plan budget, or set performance indicator and targets. So Power BI desktop can connect you to the many relational databases, as we have seen around 90 plus we have, right? And apart from this, connecting to SQL databases, we have like three options we'll get. One is import mode, right? We can load the data into the import mode. Second option that we get is a direct query mode, and the third option that we get is a combination of both, right? We can choose direct mode as well as direct query mode, right?
Okay.
So apart from this, what else we have here? So apart from this, you can sometimes feel that your data is not in a relational format, but you can see a NoSQL format. So for those purpose, you can use Cosmos DB, right? And you can choose the data and you can review the data simply just when you click on this one. No SQL databases also, it will be transferred into rows and columns. So it will be like after there, from this stage to this stage, it will be transferred to like rows and columns, and then you can use how you're using other relational database as quite simple.
Which
So
one we need to click?
so it depends upon. So if you're looking for Azure Cosmos DB, right? So you if your data is like in JSON file is coming from this particular Cosmos DB is used, where we need to like streamline the data, and latency should be very less. So those kind of scenarios generally people use this Cosmos DB. So simply what we can do, if we want to build a report, real-time report on the Cosmos DB, just we need to choose the Cosmos DB connection, provide the connection string, and then load the data, and load the data here. Load, or you say transform the data, apply the steps as we discussed last time, and then click on close and apply. This is quite simple one,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
nothing special, right? So apart from this, one very common scenario is might be in your organization. Sometimes people request for ad hoc reports, and they what they have data is in the file form of Excel sheets. So what they'll do is a very simple reason is they'll put into the SharePoint location, and they'll ask us to like every Monday I'll put one file here, and you can load the data from this SharePoint location, and you can create some insight out of it so that I can monitor my activities better. So sometimes this kind of ad hoc request also will come where you can use your SharePoint capabilities.
Okay.
So apart
Yeah,
from
different types of data sources where which we can bring the data you're showing.
correct. So and apart from this, this very important thing that we discussed last time is Azure Analysis Service. So Azure Analysis Service is like a Azure product that allow you to ingest the data from multiple data sources, right? So how
Hmm.
it will allow you to multiple data sources? So I told you like what all the activities that we can do in Power BI, similar activities we can do in Azure Analysis Service, and then we
Yeah.
live connect. So now we see 90 plus data sources here. Similar 90 plus data sources you will see into Azure Analysis Service. Then you load the data and do the modeling part, and then you connect live, right?
Yes.
So nothing special here. The only thing that is different here is here you will see data import mode and live connection. There is no direct query available here. So so whenever somebody will ask like have you ever used live connection? So only possible place where you can use live connection is with the analysis service. So it can be Azure analysis, that is AAS, or it can be SSAS also. Sometimes when people are going for MSBI, people when install this service on premises server, that is nothing but SQL server analysis service. This similar service hosted on Azure, then we call this service as a Azure analysis service. Nothing special
Oh,
about it, right? So okay, and okay, I think this module is over. So try to answer first question. The question is which query language do you use to extract data from the SQL server?
which query language means SQL only, right?
Okay, so I think I have not discussed this point. So let's say that when you are pulling data from the if you are working with SQL Server, so
Yeah.
SQL Server, let's say that you are creating one view out of two tables.
Okay.
You are creating writing a simple query like okay, select top 10 from this one and top 10 from this one, union all or union based upon your requirement, and simple. And then you said the create view, and then you put that select query in between, and then you have your view. So that
Okay.
view you can directly pull into Power BI also, right? So query
Yeah. Yes.
language, the language that is used is uh, Transact SQL or T-SQL. Oracle, you have like Oracle. So different flavors of SQL are available. For SQL Server, we have T-SQL. Everything is same. Very
Okay.
minute syntactical difference are there. That date format, or you say that uh, casting, how you do casting and converting functions. So few functional difference are there. How which function are available, where sometimes some like convert function is not available in Oracle, whereas cast function is available. So which one to use? So this kind of scenarios. So SQL Server, whenever you are working with, you use T-SQL. Generic term, you say SQL or SQL, anything you can use. T-SQL is
Okay.
transactional.
Context.
The word came from transactional. That is why we call it transact SQL, right? On the databases operations we use here.
Okay.
So when you are connecting to Power BI with the data of Azure Analysis Services Cube, when the data refreshes in the cube, would you like to see it immediately into a Power BI report? What connection you will use? So they are asking, let's say that there is an instance of cube. So as
Mm.
soon as the data is refreshed, same
Yeah.
refresh data to be available into Power BI service or in your reports. So which type of connection you'll prefer, live, or you go for direct query, or you go for import mode, or you go for dual mode? What kind of connection you'll prefer?
I think only in the live case only we can view the data, because if we upload the Excel also, if source files get updated again in the Power BI, we need to click on that refresh button. Then only we can see the refresh data.
Correct. This is the reason. So
Uh,
need not to separately refresh your Power BI file. It is live
yeah,
connected. Whenever it is refreshed, automatically
it
uh,
will
it will
refresh. Yeah.
show whatever is happening, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So loading part is quite simple. So I'll show you after this like theory part. I'll show you loading data from one or two sources, and you can try your own. And if you are facing error, I will like tell you how you can load the data. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. The very important question this is, here you will get almost every interview you will get question. Uh, Select a storage mode when you are loading the data, and which mode we need to like choose, and which is the optimal, and which scenario we need to go for which one. So I will try to explain, and then we'll try to do some questions on it. Okay.
Okay.
So the most popular way, uh, the way that we load the data into Power BI is the import mode.
Mm.
So importing the data means that the data is stored in Power BI file and get published along with the Power BI reports. This
Okay.
this process helps it make it easier for you to interact directly with your data. However, this approach might not work for all the organization or all the companies. three type of uh, Three type of storage mode that are available in Power BI is import. So import mode allows you to create a local Power BI copy of the dataset from your data source. Direct query creates a direct connection to the data source, ensures that the data is not cached, and you are always viewing the up-to-date data. Dual mode, or we say that one more word is there, composite mode. So sometimes some interview will say that, okay, what is composite mode, or have you ever worked with composite mode? Composite mode is nothing but dual mode. So identify some data to be directly imported and some other data that is queried. So in one data model, if let's say that three tables I have, one is imported, one is live connected, or one is direct query, then it's also a dual mode. If it is import and direct query, then also a dual mode. So one direct, three import mode, also a dual mode. Direct query, one import is also a dual mode. So any combination of import plus direct query is a dual mode.
Okay.
I think it is quite simple and clear. However,
Yeah.
sometimes because of security requirements around your data, that make it impossible to directly import a copy on your data. So it might be simply is too large, or would it take too long to load into Power BI, you might avoid creating a performance bottleneck. So Power BI
Okay.
Power BI solve this problem by using the direct query or storage mode, which allows you to query the data in the source directly and not in the import as a copy in Power BI. Direct query is useful because it ensures you are using viewed or we are using or viewing the most recent copy of your data, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Using the dual mode allow you to Power BI to choose most efficient form of data retrieval. Means wherever is required, use the import. Wherever required, use the direct query. You might set a storage mode for each table individually for your model. That action enables a single dataset which provides a following benefits. So query optimization and data refresh optimization. Two benefits will get along uh, uh, query direct query mode. Okay.
Okay.
So if we talk about what we talk about 1 minute. So okay. So if we talk about the diagnostic part, so we see here we have like three parts. So in the uh, what we say, there is a home tab, there is a Power Query tab. And when you click on Power Query tab, right, one new window will pop up. This is the same window. Inside that same window, whenever you go for tools, this tools here you see tools ribbon, right? This is a ribbon, and here is the tools tab.
Okay.
So whenever you
Okay.
click on this tools tab, you can see something like diagnostic options, diagnostic steps, start diagnostic, stop
Mm.
diagnostic. And some people can say that okay, might be we can subdivide into this part. So here you see one line and here you see one line. So it's
Mm.
like step diagnostic, session diagnostic, and diagnostic options.
Diagnostics options.
So
Okay.
some people can say this thing. I personally don't recommend like step diagnostic. This is nothing but these two things are nothing but the same thing.
Okay.
So step diagnostic means when you are, so let's say that you are loading your query. So last time you remember we applied some steps like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
are
Yes.
choosing some
Yeah. We
column.
have seen
Yeah,
few
and then
errors.
then
Yeah.
we have renamed. So next step is added. So let's say that in between two steps, if I want to analyze what is happening and how much time it is taking, then I can click on that diagnose step. So one step only will be evaluated, and this duration, how much time it's taking, and what query is generated, is there any partition happening on the query level, on the data level, that all information will get for only one step. Whereas session diagnostic means, so let's say that I start a session means any moment of time from that moment, what all the actions you perform until you click on stop button. So let's say that I started now and I performed 20 actions and then I clicked on stop. So in that
Okay.
section, in this session itself, 20 steps are being performed. So all those 20 steps, what kind of activities we have performed, so that all everything will be captured, and we can see that data in the form of JSON file. So you can see here when you apply these steps, we can see similar kind of activities generated. Then again here we see something called detail aggregated and these things that again when I'm doing a demo, I'll talk about all these things. So okay, so theoretically, how why it is important? This is what I told. Practically, theoretically is uh, these features.
Interview, I think they will
Yeah, yeah.
ask.
So yeah, this
Mm.
this optimization part, most of the people will focus here. Like they'll ask what kind of optimization technique or what you will do in this scenario, that scenario, whatever. So this is one of the thing that we are discussing now, and other things we'll discuss in future. So theoretically speaking, this features allows you to determine the bottlenecks if exist while loading and transforming your data. So refreshing your data in Power Query, running SQL statement in query editor, or so on, what all the activities. Other performance techniques are process as much data in the original data source, right? Or use native SQL or like separate, or we can say that if there is a date time column, you can separate that column into date as well as separate column for time. So this kind of activities we can perform. So three techniques we have learned. One is we can use query diagnostic, and saying query diagnostic means what I am saying is performance checking where all the bottlenecks and try to perform as many as actions in the storage itself, right? Or try
Okay.
to create a native query. This is the second statement I'm saying. Native query. Again, I'll talk about native query in a moment. Then we say that okay, so this is one thing, process most of the things in your original database. Second is use native SQL query. Third thing is if there is a date time function, like separate both date and time, right?
Okay.
So this is these are the three things that we have here. And apart from this, what else? Okay, so again, if we talk about the performance, so performance in Power Query depends upon the performance at a data source level. The variety of data sources that Power Query offers is wide, right? We have seen around 100 plus. The performance tuning technique for each data source varies. For instance, let's say that we are talking about SQL Server. You should follow the performance tuning guidelines for that particular product. So for SQL Server, performance tuning techniques, maybe can you name one performance tuning techniques? Might be you always like do on the tables. So if we need to fetch a table faster, what we'll do first thing is
Well,
creating indexes, right?
yes.
So
Mm.
so if we have indexes, the query will be like always run faster so that it will be fetched. And again, we'll not go into depth about what kind of indexes we have, right? Second thing is might be because of hardware upgrade. So we have SQL Server 2002, then when we even we have seen 2008 R2, 2012, 2016, 2000, I think 19, I think now 21 is running. In our office we have 2003 also, 2012 also, 2008 also. So whenever you are running anything on 2003, you can see significant lag in the queries. So one thing is hardware upgrade, indexes creation, and execution plan. So if you run any SQL query, if you click on execution plan, you can see one screen is popping up will telling you that first this will execute, then this will execute, then this will execute. That is nothing but a execution plan, right? And other thing are data compression techniques. Data compression we'll talk about whenever we are talking about Vertipack engine, how it compresses the data. That moment we'll talk about more about data compression techniques. So these topics are beyond our scope at this present moment, right?
Okay.
And one more thing is performance. Power Query takes advantage of good performance at a data source through a technique called query folding. So this is again a term called query folding. This will be might be it can be asked in some interviews what is query folding, right? So I'll explain what exactly is query folding, uh, and again we'll see what query folding is in later point in time, right? So let's say that
Very-
the performance of Power Query. Okay, so how I talk about Power Query. Okay, so let's say that query folding within Power BI editor helps you to increase the performance of a Power BI reports. Query folding is a process by which transformation and edits that you make in the Power Query editor are simultaneously tracked as a native query. Again, what is native query? So let's say that whatever the activity you are performing on your data source, these activity, so these activities are not performed here, but these are translated into your source. So let's say that I'm saying change type, so it will go back and perform that activity at the source level. That is nothing but a native query.
Okay.
Now use the word native query means I'm saying that what all the action we are doing here, it is going reflecting as it is or as is, and then these actions are performed in the source level, or say that uh, yeah, or at a source basically. So you can use Power Query to load the data into Power BI using Power Query Editor.
Query,
Mhm.
query folding is nothing but what's the steps we have done. We can see in the Power BI,
No,
the screenshot.
no,
No.
no. So when you
Oh.
say this one, where is
Mm.
my mouse? So whenever let's say that we are here, right? You right click
Yeah.
here, you say here, you come here, you say view native query. This is not highlighted at this present moment, means query folding is not
Okay.
taking place. So if we go
Okay.
one step up or here, you can see
We
sometimes
can see.
this is highlighted, then means
Mm.
query folding is taking place. If it is not highlighted, means at some place this got break. Now all the transformation what you're doing here itself is consuming the resources of Power BI.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
So what benefits we'll get with query folding is more efficient, more efficiency in data refreshes and incremental refreshes. When you import your data tables by using a query folding, Power BI is better able to allocate resources and refreshes the data faster, because Power BI is not does not have Power BI does not have to run through each transformation locally, right? Automatic, second point is automatic compatibility of direct query and dual storage mode. So all direct query and dual storage mode data sources must have the backend server processing ability to create a direct connection, which means that query folding is a automatic capability that you can use if the transformation can be reduced to a single query statement. Then query folding can occur. The last point
Okay.
that will break the query folding or the native query is, this is native query. Where is my cursor? Yeah. So what what all the activities that breaks query folding or the native query is, if you are adding any index. So let's say that there is a table here, and if you start adding indexes here, that will break your query folding. After that step, you will no longer seeing this particular thing will be highlighted. Second thing is, if you are doing a merge operation between two tables from different data source, one is coming from Excel, one is coming from SQL Server. If you are doing a merge between these tables, from that moment onwards, translation will not happen. Translation means that query folding will not happen. Changing the data type of a column, you see, change type means I'm saying that okay, it was a text type, I'm saying it make it as a whole number, might be. From that moment, this will not happen. This is a very common mistake that we do is we quickly come here and change the data type of whatever we see here, what is correct. At that moment, query folding stops. Or if we are running any complex calculation in the DAX part, not here in the but the front end reporting part, if we create very complex DAX calculation, might be sometimes it stops reflecting back to the source, and that moment query folding will not take place. So a good example is where we can see that query folding is taking place. So simply when you write a SQL statement, what you will write is select, right? Then you will do star or you select column. Then you what you will do is you use a group by statement, right? Or you use a where clause. If it
Yeah.
is a group by or where clause, based upon the condition, you go with the where clause or group by. Then you will do a sorting of the table. So all this operation when you are performing, so is similar kind of operations are being performed. Means select operation, group by operation, sorting operation, union all operation, join operation. Then you in those scenarios, like in general whatever we use in SQL, similar simple statements like select, join, where, order by, or
Yeah. Mm.
union all, join. This whenever these kind of things are there, you can think about query filtering will take place. When it will not take place,
Okay.
generic scenarios, whenever we are changing the type.
Normal
Yeah,
state.
whenever we are changing the type,
State. Okay.
merging
Mm.
two sources together, one is coming from some source, one is coming from other source, if you're merging together, it will not take place. Third thing
Okay.
is whenever you use any indexes on the table. So indexes generally for performance reasons, sometimes we add indexes, but we should never add here in the Power BI, rather than we should add in a source, right?
Okay.
Complex
Yeah.
DAX calculation we cannot avoid, sometimes we have to do. Merging and appending, if it is coming from two different data sources, try to avoid, otherwise from that moment translation will not happen. And last thing is changing the data type. Try to make fix the data type using cast function itself in your SQL Server itself, rather than changing the data type here. Okay, so which storage mode leaves the data at the data source? Tell me. Read the question.
Which storage? Which storage mode leaves the data? It does a data store. Direct query.
Direct query as
Mm.
well as live connection.
Yeah, live connections.
Try to answer second one.
Which technology improves performance by generating a single query statement to retrieve and transform source data? Uh, which technology improves performance by generating a single query statement? Which,
So okay,
we,
I'll help you here. So
yeah,
I was saying that what all the steps you should perform, a single query statement should be generated and translated to your source. So if you read
yeah,
correctly, the which technology improves performance till here is over, generating a single query statement to retrieve the data from the source data means whatever you are
it's
doing,
query folding
query
only,
folding,
right?
query folding.
Yeah. Mm.
Clear?
Yes,
Sometimes
yes.
this can be
Yeah.
confusion, but now I think if you jumble the words slowly, you can get.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yes. Once I will go through
yeah,
this concept. Yeah.
okay. So before
Mm.
moving to third concept, first concept what we have done is today is we have read about what is data, what all the data sources we can pull the data, right? Second
Yeah.
concept that we read is optimization. So there we have
Yes.
read query diagnostic. There are methods that we have seen for query diagnostic. Second, optimization techniques that we in okay, in query diagnostic we have read about step diagnostic. Then we have read about session diagnostic, right? If you can recall step and session
Yeah.
diagnostic, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I think you forgot. Okay, then
No,
we
no, no.
okay,
In the diagnostics tab only, right? First
yeah,
we have
correct.
step, then we have session, and last we have diagnostics.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And
Yeah.
then
Mm.
lastly we have discussed about native
Query
query,
folding.
native
Yeah.
query or query folding.
Folding.
So
Yes.
now my question is to you before moving to third topic, what all the steps we should not perform that will stop our query folding? So let's say that I'm performing some activities that can stop query folding. What all those steps, three steps. So on table, what we should not do. First thing
We
is
should not update
we should not, we should not.
update the table, the source while performing this query folding.
No, three things we have discussed. We should not create indexes. Remember?
Yeah, 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 yes, yes.
We
We
should
should not create regex.
indexes. We should not
Mm.
do merge when data is coming from two different data sources, right?
Yeah.
What is the third one
Yes.
we have read? The common activity that we perform. Let's say that my data type is something and I change to something. So what is that step?
We sh- we should not change the data type.
We should not. These are the activities that will
Mm.
stop the query folding. So
Okay.
what all the activities
Mm.
that will not stop? Tell me what all the activities that will not stop query folding.
Mm, mm.
Talk. Just think about that SQL statement that generic life you use.
Yeah, like
Select statement. So
yeah,
how
select
how how
statement.
you run a select statement? Like select from table, group by or where, right? Or
Yes.
having whatever is required. And
Yeah.
sometimes you do join or union all. These kind of simple operations when you're performing, it will not impact your query folding. So query folding
Okay.
is a technique that helps you to load the data faster into the Power BI.
Okay. Yeah.
So, so performance wise, loading wise is clear what two techniques. One is
Yes.
figuring out the bottleneck running query diagnostic. Second technique is query folding. So
Query
query
folding.
folding is very
Yes.
important. Every interview they will at
Mm.
least, so if they are having 10 minutes, 2 minutes will
Mm.
be focused here.
Discussion. Okay.
They will try
Yes.
to discuss this one.
Yeah. How to improve the performance means we should say this about these two steps, query folding and this about the diagnostics, right?
Ha. Okay.
Mm.
So when you are doing to improve performance, when you are getting data into Power BI, one more thing that you can do is I told you to perform some calculation. Okay, I forgot to tell this term. So let's say that uh, we should, so simple term I told you automatically you can realize later. So I told we should what I told exactly. So we should try to translate most of the operation into SQL Server, right? So
Yeah.
SQL Server or the source itself. So rather than
Yeah.
translating some operation, so if some operation already we can perform, let's say that two columns I need to join, so I can save the computing resources in Power BI. Rather than I can do the calculation there in SQL Server, create one column and bring that column here, right? So that is a simple thing that they are saying. If there is a possibility of doing some calculation at a source level, we should do that rather than bringing that one. Anyways, when you know you work on something, you know that okay, this can be done here and this cannot be done there, then we can like do that operations here. So this is simple one but trick question and nothing important.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
So in day-to-day life, I think you are working from long on the data errors, right? Or
Yeah.
so what kind of generic errors you have seen till date?
Memory issues I have seen.
Correct.
Yeah. And access, like data access issues.
Correct. These are the two major
Yeah.
issues you will see. Memory issues
Yes.
means sometimes what happens is so many people are hitting the server at this.
Yes.
So many people are hitting means resources will be consumed and you will not be able to uh, get the data in required time. So it will show like session timeout sometimes or like query timed out.
Yes. Yes.
Might be you have heard this term, right?
Yes.
Sometimes we pull the data. Let's say that I'm pulling 3 years data into one table, and sometimes after like running 20 to 25 minutes, the error will come like timed out expired. Then we'll run
Yes.
here and there. So it's
Mm.
nothing but timed out expired means based upon the organization policy, you are not allowed to fetch 3 years data. That is why if you exceed that certain amount of limit, this timed out expiration error will come. So these are the
Okay.
generic one. What based upon what you told, I have
Mm.
derived.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the simple one that you can see here is one is query timed out. Already we have discussed,
Yes.
and time of
Mm.
expired error. I think not there, but you can just think about it. Couldn't find the data.
Yeah.
So sometimes what happens is somebody has just renamed the table, or let's say that the table name is their employee details, and they just put underscore in between, or there was spaces previously, then they removed the spaces, right? So when Power BI hit for employees details underscore details, might be it won't find underscore, there was space now, so it is not able to figure it out that table. So you say that okay, that couldn't find that particular table. Or sometimes what happens is if you're pulling from some data from the Excel, right, and later point in time you feel that okay, no
Yeah.
no no, I should this put this file into my uh, Power BI folder, rather than previously you downloaded it was in downloaded folder. So next time when you open your Power BI file, it will try to hit to the same location, but since you move the
Yes.
file from downloads to your Power BI folder, that
It
sheet
could not
won't be available,
find.
and she couldn't so it will be could not find file. Sometimes what happens
Yes.
is an error,
Data type
yeah, data type of
errors.
error sometimes will occur. So like data type means sometimes what happens is it feels that it is a numeric column, and later we say that okay, IDs are having some initial caps letter, right? So that the kind of things are nothing but data type of error,
Mm.
nothing
Sorry.
special.
Mm.
So try to answer this one.
What type of import error might leave a column blank? Mm, import error means if the value is null or something like that, it will we will get an error, right?
Correct, you are correct.
Yeah.
So null means if there is like a data type error, that moment you can feel that okay, we are looking for some data type, date data type, it is date time data type or text data type mismatch, and the column will be left blank.
Yes.
So data
Mm.
type error is one of
Error.
the possibility. Okay, so
Okay.
what we have learned is getting data from the various data
So
sources,
various data
optimizing
optimizing
techniques, and
performance,
few
resolving
few
data errors.
few errors while
Mm.
loading the data. These are the sometimes in interview like what all the generic error you have faced while loading the data.
Mm.
So these are like you
Yeah.
can talk about 1 or 2 minutes like okay loading data timeout these things. These are very common we face, but at the
Mm.
time of interview we sometimes we skip or forgot this one. I
Forgot.
we
Yes.
cannot recall these
Mm.
activities, right? So this is all about theory. So let's see everything in action. I think I personally like this part, seeing things in action. Okay, so let's quickly load the data, but today we'll not load the data from uh, my name is John Doe, so we'll not load the data from
From
Excel file.
Excel, we
We'll
load
try to
data
load
from
the data.
SQL Server.
We can load the data from SQL Server, but I'll not prefer
Mm.
loading data from SQL Server. Let's use something else, that is data flows.
Okay. Yeah.
So how data flows is created, this all things we'll figure it out later, but you can just assume that somebody worked somewhere and he created fixed the data flow. Now it's available to us. This is what I am assuming.
Okay. Yeah.
So now data flow is available. What is navigator? What is this thing? So quickly I'll show you here. So if I move to here, so this is nothing but if I go to apps, you will see a navigator app. So if you click here, right, this navigator app will open. Inside that I have created a data flow called sales data flow. For this report, that Excel data even Excel data is also present. So if somebody will ask can we upload the data from Excel, yes we can upload. And here we have this one, and inside this in the navigator we have data flow. Okay, so similar data flow we are, okay, that is gone. Okay, so similar data flow is available here. So I'm using this data flow option navigator. So this is my environment, and inside my workspaces you now you got what are workspaces. I created one workspace called navigator. Inside this I
Okay.
have sales data flow.
Safety data.
Inside this if I click on data flow, it will end up showing me the same option that we have from Excel.
Oh,
Cool. Okay, so let me load sales data, and I can load dim product category. I can load dim product subcategory, and I will load products data. I'll not load calendar, but I'll go with these options. So let's quickly check what is data present. So this is what I am looking for category. So here I have I'm explaining you what kind of data we have. So you can think about I have sales for bike, some components, clothing and accessories, right? And I have a product category key that is 1234, and alternate key is also 1234. Same name I have written in French as well as Spanish. So you can see
okay.
same thing here. This I am
Yes.
looking for. The main thing is notice here is this will work as a primary key, or this can also be work as a primary key, this option. So what is
Mm.
dim subcategory? So if I come here, I found this table is having the same data, right?
Yeah.
Since after analyzing I come to know since this is same data I need not to load,
Yes.
right?
Do.
Without
Yeah.
loading also I figured it out. I went to this table.
Mm.
I know that here I have dim product subcategory and category key, right? But I have one, two, three,
Yeah.
four. Here this is subcategory something else. Here also I have more than four. Then these are something else. But since looking to be unique columns, so if you check here, everything is looking. So I can have this columns. Then I have this product. Same is available in French as well as Spanish. So I can think about these are all the products that I have subcategory wise. So I can say that inside bikes I can have mountain bike, road bike, touring bike, some other bikes, right? So it's like a
Yeah.
subcategory. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is a category. Inside this I have a subcategory. I'm happy with subcategory. Inside this let's check what all the products I have. So in subcategory might be this cat product key can help. Product subcategory is available here in the product table. So if you see here, product category key and will while loading the data we'll see 1 2 3 4 15 not required. Here we here this we will analyze. If we have 1 2 3 4, then we can use this column as a joining key between uh, product category as well as product table, right? And
Okay.
here I have some data. So data is all about cost, color. So if it is listed in stock market, what is the stock value? So listed price, size, and range, weight, and all those things. All this, what is model number and all those things, and some description and start date, end date. If a company is selling this product, not selling this product, it is being suspended or not, it is running in current. So all this kind of status as well as category and subcategories are available here. And I have sales. So I'm keeping it simple, not bringing all those columns that belong to customer. Like these columns will not be useful, but I can see sales territory key also not be useful because I'm not bringing category, sorry, territory as
Yes.
well as
Okay.
customers. So I'll
Mm.
be avoiding these two point uh, for the moment because I'm not loading all these activities. I will try to have very simplistic model for today. Okay. So for this particular
Okay.
purpose, I have these things. This we will build ourselves. Okay.
Okay.
Then I'm good with this. But since I see this first column is not a headers column, right? I can use this thing as a header. So I can, should I use the load tab or should I use the transform tab now? Transform tab, yeah, tab or a button. Which one
Yeah.
I need to go for? Explain you
You
before.
can directly use the transform data, right?
Correct.
No
This is
need to
the,
load.
yeah. So
Yeah.
loading we can do
Mm.
later. Let's clean our data.
Yes. Mm. And we can load. Yeah.
So first thing is making this one. So this is loaded, properly loaded. We can see here loaded, 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 loaded. So sales is, we can say that sometimes we need to check what a fact table, what is dimension table. So we can add this keyword. So it is a dimension one is good. This is a dimension table. We know that while designing this one, this is also a dimension table about the category, and this is a fact table or a dimension table. These are the product listings, these things. So this will remain as is, right? Slowly changing dimension means
Yeah.
some point might be the price will change after 1 or 2 years when they are going for 10% increase.
Mm.
So this will also be a dimension table. Now we know that what is
Okay.
fact, what is dimension table. It will help us to design better star schema. Star schema we'll talk later.
Yes.
Okay, now we need to make this thing as a some transformation and we need to do. So we need to make row first row as a header. So I can just come here and choose this
Okay.
option, use first row as a header, right? Clear?
Mm.
Okay,
Yes.
now we are good. Second thing is we got our, so what all the columns that is required for our analysis is, let's choose those
Okay.
column. So from the table, I want product key, order, customer not required, territory not required, order number not required, line number not required, quantity we can keep, unit price, let's keep it, extended amount I'll not keep, discount amount I'll keep, product standard cost I'm not keeping, product total product cost I'm not keeping, sales amount. So sales amount means if we have a cost of product into unit price, right? S- So we can get a cost price, selling price we can get from sales amount. So if we do a cost price minus selling price, we can easily calculate profit. Freight means if transportation you are using any truck and bus, if there is something you are spending there, that amount we are not interested in. To make it simple, I'll keep sales on cost. Cost anyways we'll try to bring from product table. That is why I'm removing cost, and I'll not keep month ID. Month ID will be, we have date, right? Order date. So month ID not required. We can have this activity, all these things here in the calendar table. Now we are good with what all the columns are required. Second thing,
Okay.
next is we need to rename this column. So you can just right click here, and you can
Or
rename this column from here, right?
if
So
we double click also, it will work or
so
no?
so you can rename like this. So what I follow is I'll double click, I'll quickly double click and
Okay. Yeah.
rename this column. But you should know what all the possibilities are there.
Options.
Yeah,
Yes.
possibilities,
Mm.
options are available for seeing that.
Okay.
Now this everything is uh, y- and one more thing to be, this all should be user friendly. So as of now I'm seeing everything is user friendly. This is this one, this one, this one, this one, this one is, so here we see something 2 decimal digit. Here we are seeing this one as 3 decimal digit. So you can
Mm.
even make this one uniform here, but let's keep this thing here because sometimes we need to validate the data source. So modeling level will do this one to make it 2 decimal digit there. Okay, this also same activity,
Okay.
so I'll perform quickly. This is good, so this is good. Here I also will perform quickly. So subcategory key, this category key, this done. Temp product, this also quickly. Let's do this activity. This also good. So here looking some extra columns. So let's choose some columns. So product key, subcategory, product name, standard cost, color not required, stock level not required, list price, size not required, size range not required, weight not required, days to manufacture not required, product line not required, dealer not required, class not required, model number not required, start date, description not required, end date not required, status not required, category and subcategory. So we have product and their primary key. So if do we have anything called stock price? Yeah, standard cost is available. List price I'm keeping just to see what exactly it is. Now we are good with what all the data we have. So standard cost and list cost. Okay, so listed cost means whatever in stock market, what is the price that is listed. We are not going to do any calculation on this. So as of moment, I'm removing it. 1 minute, I double clicked here. Okay, now we are good with it. And anyways, I already told you how to check this. What exactly it was? You remember these things?
Errors, right?
Oh, so these things we call it data profiling. So data profiling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
You
column
told
profile, these
me.
things, all these things I explained you, right? So I'm not going to touch again. And since I'm happy with this data, now, okay, one bad thing is, uh, okay, let's check if query folding is taking place. I'm not doing anything from SQL Server, right? So
Mm.
there is no source. That is why this is disabled. So once we do a sample example from SQL Server, that moment you can see this is taking place. Since
Okay.
this is all our Power BI, it is query view native query option is
Mm.
disabled at this moment. Here when I click on this one, right, you see this diagnose
Diagrams.
option. So if you
Yeah.
click on this diagnose option, right,
In the top also we should see, right? Diagnostics.
wait, so now we are seeing some diagnostic tables here, right? So going, what
Wait,
happened?
wait, wait. Did it load? I think it's loading. Mhm.
No, it should not create these steps, but okay,
Oh.
but that is okay because I clicked from the second step, then I clicked here. That is why these steps are created. So not a problem. Okay, we got this extra diagnostic here is loaded
Mm.
here, right? Now let's not focus here.
What is the difference between the
Slowly,
upper one and the...
slowly we'll go. Uh,
Mm.
so I clicked on diagnostic. So this all diagnostic steps after that is generated. So let's start from here. That is, and that is better one, right? So step anyways you understood. So let's create a
Mm.
duplicate of okay. Let's create a duplicate one here. Okay. And what if I create a reference here? Then what will happen? And if I copy a table, what will happen? So check this all these things and explain me in the second class. Otherwise, whenever we are going some details, then we'll see. So let's say that I am into navigation pane, right? And I start the query diagnostic
Okay.
steps now. So I start the steps. First thing that I'm going to perform is use first row as a header. Then I choose some
Okay.
columns. I choose columns. Then I can choose like one standard cost, product name, this one, and then I can choose category, subcategory, and done. So let's say that I have applied some steps here, right? Now this all these activities are being recorded. So I can come here and stop these activities. Now you can see this four tables are being generated based upon what all the activities I have
Yeah.
performed. So these are the same table that you have seen previously. It was generated before we applied here and then it automatically checked the steps.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now
Yes.
we are
Mm.
seeing few things are if you see four tables, we have counters,
Yeah.
we have details,
Detailed,
details, we have aggregated, what is
aggregated
partition.
partitions.
Now we are studying step diagnostic, session diagnostic, what partition, counter, aggregation, and these things came, why this came, and from where this came. So if you click on file, you go options and settings, you go options. If you go to diagnostic, then you will see this fourth option. Previously when this diagnostic came, it was only for admin purpose, so may require admin privileges, but then Power BI has checked that even developers, also those who don't have admin privileges, require to know what exactly is the bottleneck. So we need to choose this option, enable a query editor does not require running as a admin, right? So otherwise, if it is required as admin, then this everything will be disabled. I am doing it because I have the required privileges. Now, even if you don't have, you can choose this option. Here we can see this one is a aggregated. So let's say that what all the activities I'm performing. So let's say that one query is taking 10 seconds. Second step is taking 3 seconds. So if all together, I can say one query took 3 plus 5, 8 seconds. So this is nothing but a aggregated information. Detailed information means
Okay.
5 step. So 5 step at this partition, second partition took 3 step, then again partition some. So all these details will be available here in the detailed view. So here you see this one is aggregated view, right? This table. You see my cursor?
Yeah.
And this is
Yes.
the
Yes.
detailed view.
Aggregated. Detailed view. Okay.
Now this is what counters are, and this is last one is the partition. From here these four tables are
Partitions.
generated. Now clear from where this four table, what is what is performance counter. So every 500 milliseconds, if you hover here, so if you can see here, every 500 millisecond, query execution, resource consumption, user snapshot, and memory and CPU, every all this information is captured in the performance counters. And data
Okay.
privacy is the logical partition. So if you are doing any activity at a partition level, so your query is not run as is, but sometimes it will partition your query and then it will execute. So at a partition level, so at what partition there is a bottleneck also you can recognize when understanding this data privacy partition. So basically,
Okay.
in generally, if you want to see resource consumption, what is happening, what you need to follow, so you have to analyze this performance counter table. Performance counter table, this one you have to analyze to understand how your CPU is being consumed, how your RAM is being used, how your memory is used, how much performance each query execution is taking. Is there, how much is the resource consumption taking from that query? So if you hover here on the I means information,
Hmm.
you will see all these steps, right? So we understand that all these steps.
Okay.
Here I'll get detailed information. Here I'll get about the resources, how it is being consumed. This is aggregated information. If partitions are happening, so let's say that I from here I come to know that this particular query is creating a problem, then you can analyze that particular query in that particular partition option, where you can see, okay, this query at this partition level, it is creating a bottleneck and not running smoothly, right? Then you need to check what is happening, what exactly is creating the problem, then you can
Yeah.
go and fix it. Now you understood what all these four files are and how you need to analyze this thing. Clear? Okay.
Yes.
The catch was you still not know how to analyze this thing. But if I close and apply, now you see
Yeah,
four, four.
analyze, I don't know.
Yeah. So
Just
I'll delete this
what
one.
exactly it is
Yeah.
doing.
So let's keep this
Yeah.
thing, but I'll delete this later point in time because it's just a duplicate one. So if I close and apply, now you see 8 tables here and 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 tables here. So when I close and apply with the right panel, so here how many tables you are expecting? 8 and 5, 13 tables. How many tables? Tell quickly.
Mm, no, I did not understood. You
So
are very fast.
okay, so let me go back.
Mm.
So we have seen here, right, Power Query view. We are seeing 4 queries before
Yeah, yeah, yes.
and fourth
Yeah,
query that I
yeah.
generated from the query diagnostic, and
Mm,
5 query we have loaded. This is a duplicate one. So when I load this one,
mm.
how many tables will be loaded here? Anyways, now it is loaded. You can see only 5 are loaded. Those 8 tables that are coming from query diagnostic are not loaded. So once it's not loaded, how you
Yeah,
analyze it?
okay.
The problem is, okay, is there. So what I can,
Only okay, only in that view only we can analyze. Here we
okay,
can't
huh.
analyze.
Now the problem is how we analyze this table. Now it is a difficult task, right? Now you got the problem. Why it is difficult? Because it's not
Yeah,
there
yeah,
how
I
we
understood.
analyze it. So if you click on this table, you
Yes.
will see this one table here. So if you go for details, you can see this is the ID this been generated. This is queries executed on this particular one, dim dimension table, right?
Mm.
What all the steps
Yeah.
we performed, these are the promoted headers we steps we performed, right? What happened? First it got evaluated, document evaluator run, then others, then evaluation, then power platform data flows. It connected, then it picked the data from the data source. All these steps you can see evaluated, then trace is happening, right? And others, and all these
Okay.
activities are being performed, fetch from the null and all this activity. So let's the what all the data sources sometimes it will fetch. So let's only focus on, so see here, at least I know that the data that is stored in the Azure data, sorry, whatever the data flows we have seen in the Power BI service backend, it is storing the data into Azure blob. Till date only we have read about it, like it is storing somewhere into the data lake. But how do we know? Now we know that okay, it is storing somewhere in the data blob that is anonymous to us. This is how backend data being stored. And then from where we are
Okay.
fetching, this is fetching from web. Now we need to know that might be this is creating a problem source, or might be the interface that is a web portal, it is creating a problem. So we can analyze both, right? How
Yeah.
much time it took a response, start time, end time. Then we can, if you create a difference, you will
Mm.
come to know that this one. Now you can see the duration, how much duration it took. If you check percentage wise, you will come to know that okay, this step is something creating problem. These are the milliseconds it took to analyze. So you can
Mm.
see this one. But for simple two steps, see how many lines it is generated. So at least now you got idea that it is very difficult for a person who is performing 70 steps and analyzing. Then then you have to go each and every step, and step by step you have to diagnose. Then only you can at least understand something. Otherwise it will be like just a dump of data, you cannot perform anything, right?
Yeah. Yes.
But what if in the sales table we have 10 million rows, but we are able to analyze the trend? So if somehow we are able to generate a on uh trend on not this one, count, where is this partition aggregated counters? So if we are able to generate a trend on here, so we know that at least no, detailed, I was analyzing detail one, yeah. So we can see here from the duration we come to know that okay, at least we can analyze the trends, right?
Yeah.
So but the problem is how to create a trend. Now the problem is how to create a trend.
Mm.
If somehow we can know this thing as a source, yesterday we have loaded the data, right, from the Excel. We have loaded the data from the Excel, and from there we clicked on get data and we got this option. But somehow if we know if this data is stored where,
Ajay,
yeah.
we will continue this tomorrow. I will once go through this. Okay.
Okay, I'm about to finish in 10 minutes
Uh,
this topic. You want to?
yeah, yeah. I want next day.